Star Wars is one of the most popular franchises in the world, and with that comes its fair share of haters, but as they say, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans themselves. And while I wouldn't say I hate anything in the series, I wouldn't say I love every decision made. In order to love something, you gotta be able to notice its flaws, which is exactly why today, I'm gonna be ranking the top 10 dumbest Star Wars moments. In my opinion, of course. Without wasting any more time, at number 10 we have Padme's death. The reason why this is so low is because I guess it's technically something that can happen in real life. She lost the will to live, but that only makes sense if she was already dying of something. I guess the childbirth could have had complications that they just didn't mention, but overall, the way they actually explained it in the movie is honestly just dumb. Especially since she could have died in so many other ways that would have made more sense, like health complications from when Anakin force choked her, or childbirth being the actual reason of death. So we know for a fact that this wasn't just due to lazy writing. It was done this way because, George was feeling a little silly. At number 9, we have the midichlorians in The Phantom Menace. George Lucas probably added this into the series to make the Force and how people are more Force sensitive than others make more sense, but in the end, actually confused more people in the process. This is also low on the list due to it making sense if you look into it, but you'll need a Star Wars PhD to figure it out. In the original trilogy, it's said that the Force surrounds and binds all living things, which makes sense, but when The Phantom Menace is released, Qui-Gon says that the midichlorian count in a person's blood is what actually makes them Force sensitive or not. This is just a dumbed down way of explaining how they know Anakin's the chosen one, and it's kinda lame. Number 8 is actually because of the special edition remasters of the original trilogy, and this is the who shot first argument. This scene has been touched by George's little grimy hands way more than I can count. I love the man, but good god. Even Disney's gotten in on it too recently, adding McClunky to the scene because, I don't know. But if you didn't know, in the theatrical release of the original Star Wars, Han Solo shot Greedo in the cantina, but in the special edition release, it was changed to Greedo because, oh, Han Solo's the good guy, he'd never do that. Which, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but since then, the scene has been edited over and over again, just adding small details every now and then. At number 7 is all of the sequel trilogy's fake-out deaths. I know this is technically more than one thing, but it has happened so many times during the 3 movies that I have to just put them all into one. Now, starting at The Force Awakens and ending with The Rise of Skywalker, all of the fake-out deaths include Poe Dameron, Captain Phasma, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca, C-3PO, Kylo Ren, and Rey. And there's probably more, but you get the gist of it. Now, while fake-out deaths can sometimes work like with Poe and Phasma, as the trilogy went on, they just got worse and worse. They stopped making sense and made the films more annoying. And starting now, the sequel trilogy will really take over this list because at number 6 is Finn's secret from The Rise of Skywalker. Now, this set up for a nice side plot in the movie where Finn had something to say to Rey, and over time it's hinted at more and more that he's Force sensitive, so the movie has you waiting for this big reveal just for it to never happen. Finn never tells Rey what the secret is. Now, it's most likely that it's because he's Force sensitive since it's hinted at in the movie, and multiple other sources seemingly confirming this, like J.J. Abrams in an interview and the LEGO Holiday Special, funnily enough. But it was never officially stated what Finn's secret is, and it was a dumb part of the plot that did nothing but waste time. At number 5 is actually the only TV show on this list, and it's the disguise scene from the Kenobi show. Now, there can be plenty of things said about this show, but I overall enjoyed my time watching Ewan return as Obi-Wan. What I thought was silly, however, was him and Leia escaping the Inquisitor's fortress wearing a goddamn Snuggie. This could honestly be a result of lazy writing or just adding filler due to it not being a movie as it was intended to be, but whatever the reason was, this scene will never not be dumb. Going back to The Rise of Skywalker, I'm actually gonna say the next two at the same time. At number 4, we have the quote,
"Somehow Palpatine returned."
And at number 3 is the quote,
"They fly now! They fly now!"
I know earlier I combined all of the fake-out deaths due to them being equally bad, but these two lines alone are just terrible. These lines by themselves can single-handedly ruin this movie if it didn't already have a bunch of bad things going for it. It also makes it worse that both of these are both said by Poe, and "they fly now" is said a total of 3 times. They really had to dig it in there. I do gotta say though, Poe saying somehow Palpatine returned can make some sense, and they did have the Lord of the Rings guy explain how he returned through cloning, but the line itself was just not it, man. They could have left it out and just shown Palpatine's broadcast. That would have been so much better. I would have loved to actually know what Palpatine said.
At last the work of generations is complete. The great error is corrected. The day of victory is at hand.
They played it in Fortnite instead of the movie. They played it in Fortnite. Okay.
They fly now!
Now at number 2, we have the sequel trilogy's 5th moment on this list. In that spot, I have to give to the flying Leia scene in The Last Jedi. Before I move on, I just want to say, I love Carrie Fisher. I'm not trying to diss her in any way, but I am instead dissing the writers, and Rian Johnson, who really thought that the scene would be a good idea. Visually, it looked great. I mean, all of the sequels look amazing, but the scene itself was just so silly. The Kylo Ren's reaction was okay, at least. The scene wasn't as bad for me as it was towards other people. People said they almost walked out of the movie because of it. I didn't think it was that bad, but it was a little dumb. Now, before I move on to the number 1 spot, I have an honorable mention, and that's the "I am all the Jedi" line from The Rise of Skywalker. Who in their right mind watched Endgame and thought to copy the "I am Iron Man" line? Who thought that? It worked in that series because it was a callback to the original Iron Man film, and the way he was playing off Thanos' "I'm inevitable" line, it worked. But in this movie, Palpatine just says "I'm all the Sith," and Rey's comeback is "I'm all the Jedi." It was cringe, it didn't work, and it really just took me out of the film. Sorry everyone, I lied. This is future Tyler talking from after I already made the video, and I have one more honorable mention before I move on, and that's the 360 no-scope from the Book of Boba Fett. I honestly forgot this scene existed, which is why it wasn't part of the list, but it's just so goofy and unnecessary. I know Star Wars has shots like that all the time with lightsabers and stuff, but at least those look cool. This is just one of those moments where it's so embarrassingly funny, and I think that's all that needs to be said. Enjoy the rest of the video. But the only thing that I think beats all of these and deserves the top spot for the dumbest Star Wars moment is the original Star Wars Holiday Special. Released in 1978 in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, the Holiday Special, if you didn't know, was a way that George Lucas decided to keep the Star Wars magic going while fans waited for the second movie. It was made in order to keep toy sales going and to keep the series hot on people's minds. It gave birth to Boba Fett, Kashyyyk, and intergalactic cooking shows. While it had maybe a handful of good things to come out of it, it was overall just terrible. The plot was that Han and Chewie get stuck in space while Chewie's family waits for him to come home for the holiday life day. And instead of an adventure following Han and Chewie, we get to watch Chewie's family do day-to-day things like watch a cooking show, a music video, and whatever Grandpa Joe over here is doing. What makes it worse is that you don't even understand what they're saying because they're Wookiees. The special is 2 hours long and you barely understand what's being said the majority of the time. The best part is this animated segment of the original main characters, and you'd think them showing up would be a nice moment, but every time you see Luke, Leia, or Han, they just look sad. You know they don't want to be there. Why is he looking at me like that? It was ultimately one of the crew's biggest regrets and ended up embarrassing George and the cast more than anything, which is why it was never aired again, and you can only find it online from people who recorded it during its original airing. In recent days, it's however been redone by LEGO, making the LEGO Holiday Special in 2020, which was surprisingly 10 times better. It was made to be silly and not make sense, which is why it works, and the original Holiday Special didn't, making it probably the dumbest thing to ever come out of Star Wars. This franchise has had a lot of great and weird things to come out of it due to just how long it's been around for. There's movies, shows, games, comics, books, just any piece of entertainment you can think of, Star Wars has used it. This leads for a lot of dumb creative decisions to happen since just about anyone can touch the series and do what they want to it. But before I end the video, I just want to say thank you all for 1,000 subscribers. It really means a lot and motivates me to keep making content into the future. So again, thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Oops, you have to put the CD in your computer.